This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and this is the first in a two-parter. This week I'm going to be talking about 5 things that I love about Harley Benton guitars. Next week we're going to be talking about 5 things that I don't love about Harley Benton guitars, just in the interests of balance. But for now, let's talk about the positive side of the equation. 5 things that I love about Harley Benton guitars, beginning with...
fantastic value pricing.
Yes, indeed, they are cheap. Or I prefer to say good value. And the reason they're good value isn't, like many of the detractors and naysayers insist, that they are built by some poor sap toiling away in some despotic forced labour camp. This guitar, this one here, the SC DLX, which belongs to a friend of mine, and there's going to be a review coming up on the channel very shortly. This was made in Indonesia, the same country that gives us PRS SE guitars, Court guitars, Larry Carlton Sire guitars. And to be honest, it wouldn't, or Wildwood guitars as well, they come from Indonesia as well, don't they? It wouldn't surprise me if this guitar came from, one of those big facilities there, because they build guitars for everybody, those factories. So I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that, these guitars are made there as well. So why are they so cheap? Well, or good value? Well, it's because you're cutting out the middleman. It's, usually in any kind of supply chain, there'll be importers, distributors, wholesalers, etc., etc. These guitars come straight out the factory gate and go to the retailer, then to you. And when we say cutting out the middleman, what we actually mean is we're cutting out a big company from the supply chain, at least one big company, a company that will have executives on 6-figure salaries, a fleet of company cars that need to be kept on the road, and a stationery cupboard to keep stocked, and an administrative staff whose salaries need paying, and office Christmas parties to pay for, all that kind of stuff. That's where a chunk of your money goes when you buy any product that is manufactured and then distributed. But if you can tighten that supply chain down, it makes the end product cheaper. Better value. So there you go. That's reason number 1, the price. Next.
Astonishing quality.
Indeed, the quality. They are good quality guitars, and that is an end of it. And I know, as the words are leaving my mouth, that there are some people who are going to be screaming at me in the comments section about that, but I really don't care. If it makes you feel better, just hit that caps lock key and go for it. As evidence that, let me back that up, as evidence that these are good quality guitars, this guitar here, my SC552, the single cut, isn't it a gorgeous looking thing? I did a blind test between this and one of the new inspired by Gibson Epiphones a little while ago. I put a track together where I was swapping back and forth between the two guitars. You couldn't see me playing because that would sort of defeat the purpose of the test. It wouldn't be a blind test then. Basically, there was a £50 Amazon voucher up for grabs, and all you had to do to win that voucher was tell me where I was using one guitar and swapping to the other, where I was using the Epiphone, the superior Epiphone, and where I was using the inferior Harley Benton. And funnily enough, nobody won that voucher. No one could tell. So, I did get some people in the comment section of that video telling me that it doesn't matter what it sounds like when they're talking about a musical instrument. Indeed. Other things. Looking at this guitar again here, let's just look at the features on this. You've got a Graphtec Tusk nut. You've got Goto tuners, you've got Goto hardware, you've got stainless steel frets, and, the pickups, the Tesla pickups, if we just take a look at those, there they are, Tesla VR2 pickups, €69 each, that's about 57 quid in English money, and, so this 250 quid guitar has 100 quid's worth of pickups in it, if you were to buy them retail, that is, obviously. So any, idea that these guitars are cheap and poor quality because they're made from plywood, bubblegum and snot just is kind of completely blown out the window. And You know, if you're still not convinced, well, I'm afraid I don't have the time or the crayons to explain it to you in any more depth. They are good quality guitars. Next.
Customizing and modding.
Yes, indeed, they are fantastic modding platforms. You can customize and modify them until they are dialed in exactly perfect for your needs. Of course, you can do that with a more expensive guitar. You know, you can buy a £1,000, £2,000 guitar and tinker with it and modify it until it's exactly the way you want it. But it always seems a bit counterintuitive to me to spend a significant amount of money on something and then discard big chunks of what you've paid out for and replace them with, you know, something that you prefer instead. Why not just get a cheaper guitar that I think I've hopefully made the case that they are good quality guitars, they have good bones, and then tinker with that and get it dialed in exactly the way you want. You know, some people say that, okay, by the time you've paid for the Harley Benton and then you've paid for some upgraded parts or different parts, you might as well have bought the more expensive guitar. Maybe that more expensive guitar isn't exactly what you want, though. You know, we're all individuals, we're all unique, we all have our own idiosyncrasies, likes and dislikes, and it's beyond the realm of possibility that any big manufacturer can cater for the minutiae of, you know, what every guitar player wants. So just buy a cheap guitar, good quality guitar like a Harley Benton that's affordable, good value, and, you know, just tinker with that and get that dialed in exactly the way you want it. You know, you'll end up with a unique one-off instrument, and that is frankly priceless. You know, it's there's a real sense of satisfaction as well, knowing that, you know, you've got your perfect guitar and it's exactly the way you want it to be. The other thing as well, of course, is that you can teach yourself a lot about doing guitar setups. You know, if you've got like a boutique, high-end, expensive guitar and you're not used to doing things like, you know, filing nut slots or even adjusting the truss rod or maybe, you know, doing a fret level and crown, then, you know, the sense of foreboding and trepidation as you know, take a file to your £1,500 Fender is significant if you've never done it before. But if you're doing it on a £150 Harley Benton, it's like, meh, okay, if I ruin it, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, they are great modding platforms and you can customize them and learn a lot about doing guitar maintenance simply by tinkering with them. Next.
Trying out different styles.
Yes, indeed. We're back to the affordability side of the equation again. You can try out different styles of guitars for not much financial outlay. You might be a dyed-in-the-wool Strataholic. You love Stratocasters. All of your musical heroes have played Stratocasters. You love the feel of a Stratocaster. You love the sound of a Stratocaster. All 5 positions on the switch are, you know, sonic nirvana for you. Everything about a Stratocaster tells you that it's the guitar for you. But I'm sure we've all had that bit of curiosity of like, wouldn't it be fun to play a Les Paul from time to time? Or if you're a Les Paul player, you might be thinking the other way about a Strat. You know what I'm saying? But then, you know, you look at the price of what it would cost you to buy, let's say, a Les Paul, a Gibson, certainly, or like one of the inspired by Gibson Epiphones, and you think, yeah, I'm curious, but I'm not that curious. Just buy the Harley Benton, see if it's something you can get on with, see if, you know, the way it feels, the way it balances, if you know, the tone that it makes, if you can make that work musically for you. Just see if it's something that is going to be, you know, a good fit for you. And if it's just going to be something that's an occasional, you know, kind of guitar that you play on special occasions or whatever, you know, if it's something that you're going to use every now and again, then that might just be enough to scratch the itch. But I know of at least one of my students who's gone from being a Fender player to being a Gibson player via Harley Benton. Okay, you know, it's, you know, as I say, typical kind of Strat guy. Bought a Harley Benton Les Paul copy, thinks, oh, I like this, and, you know, went all in and bought himself, not a massively expensive, I think it was a Les Paul Tribute, you know, one of the kind of entry-level Gibsons, and, you know, loves the guitar, and he wouldn't have taken that plunge without going via the kind of gateway drug of the Harley Benton. So there you go. The affordability makes it very easy to check out different styles of guitar for not much financial outlay. Next.
It's not a disaster if anything happens to it.
Yes, it's not the end of the world if anything happens to it. I used to play when I was gigging. I used to play on the famous, or is it infamous North East England working men's club circuit, and lots of nice venues and quite a few not so nice venues, quite dicey in some places. You're thinking, yeah, this is going to be fun this evening. And no matter how careful you are, you can't be with your equipment 100% of the time. And I've had stuff stolen under exactly those circumstances. Is that the kind of situation where you want to leave a $2,000 guitar on display on stage for some thieving scrote to come along and decide that they've got more of a right to it than you? Yeah, what I'm saying is a £200 guitar that gets pinched is, well, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to hurt as much as a £1,000, £1,500 guitar that suffers the same fate. And things get damaged, accidents happen as well. And, as I say, Rhett Shull, in a couple of his videos, has talked about cheap guitars being essentially like Bic lighters, and I wouldn't go quite that far and say that they are, disposable items, but the pain of losing or, having a damaged Harley Benton is a lot less than the pain of having a stolen or damaged custom shop Strat or PRS Core guitar or something like that. So there you, and the other thing, of course, is when you're just playing the guitars at home, you try putting a $3,000 guitar on your home contents insurance and see what happens to your premiums. So that's another thing that bears thinking about as well. And there you have it, folks. My 5 things that I love about Harley Benton guitars. Let me know what you think in the comments, if I've missed any. Just to be in the interests of keeping things balanced, next week I'm going to be doing 5 things that I'm not in love with about Harley Benton guitars, and you'll just, as I say, to keep it balanced. That's what's going to be coming up next week. And that is pretty much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it reasonably entertaining, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. As always, don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 p.m. UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars. Fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I would love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.